everyone, I'm Mishka and welcome back to my channel. So, in today's episode of our life of Cinderella Phenomenon, not Our Life Beginnings and Always, Cinderella, we are going to be continuing with Rod's route, and we will be doing chapter 7 today, and yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing for this, and I'm hoping to finish Rod's route today, maybe, I'm not sure, but yeah, before we get started, make sure to subscribe button and share this video with your friends so they can find out about my amazing channel just like I have right now. So yeah, let's get into I hope you enjoy. Today is the first time that I am leaving the palace on a day off. Usually I choose to stay inside. Whereas the other servants always leave to go home, I never see any reason to leave since this has always been my home. And the merchant has never been home. Besides, it is not as if I want to return. Not after that conversation we all shared last time. Thus, I've spent most of my days asking questions about Mother's reign, inquiring when and where I can. The opinions do not surprise me. I was so scared of her. One wrong move and she'd had you thrown into prison. The townsfolk would always wait for her to pass by before leaving their houses. She was a tyrant. The kingdom is a better place now that she's gone. There is no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more my own life makes sense to me. Now I know why the king never seemed to love Mother and why the people hated her, and the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it has been months since I have been glared at in public. If there is one good thing that this curse did for me, it is that it allows me to travel around town without being noticed. As 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿 shops comes into view, my thoughts shift to the reason I have left the palace in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I will have to ask 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿. She must be related in some way to his curse. I pause outside the door to the toy shop. With a deep breath, I push the door open. Welcome. The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you are the princess's maid. Marie, wasn't it? I nod at her. You've never come in here alone before. What can I help you with? I wanted to ask you something. It is about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Does something happen to him? Is he okay? He is fine. She sighs with relief. Then what is it you would like to ask? I just wanted to know if you knew anything about Princess Rod's sudden muteness. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿 stares at me for a few moments before she shakes her head. I only know it happened soon after I met my fiancé 𝐍𝐸𝐸. What reason do you have for asking? Well, I try to think of a possible explanation for this, and I immediately consider Emmeline. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿 is Emmeline's best friend. Surely she would be willing to help if she knows doing this for Emmeline. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Princess Emmeline has been worried sick about him, but he refuses to say anything even to her. I have been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning the cause. I stare at her expectantly, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but determination. Finally, 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿 smiles. She is lucky to have a dedicated friend like you. I am still not accustomed to the fact that Emily considers me a friend. Before she became the princess, I was her confidant. We were like sisters. But now that she's living in the castle, we no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her constantly. Even around me, Em always tended to keep her problems to herself at first. She doesn't like to bother other people with them. It is hard not to agree. With the way Emmeline was always smiling before, I never thought she had any problems in her life. It was only recently that I discovered she was hiding all her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It's a relief that she's befriended someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but I tell you what I know if it will help Emmeline. To start with, I'm not exactly sure how everything changed, but it all happened so suddenly. All I know is that after the night I met 𝐍𝐸𝐸, our relationship changed. At first he smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you the night you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there? No, but soon after what happened that night, Rod grew distant. What happened? It was a stormy night and I was heading back home. I took the route by the riverbank because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippery and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong and I was certain I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of that water, only that when I woke up, my head was in 𝐍𝐸𝐸's lap. That was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home and came by every day as I was recovering. And he even came to visit even after I had recovered. I try not to get my hopes up too much, but what could this nobleman see in me, a mere commoner? But I still ended up falling in love with him. You had no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl dreams of marrying a prince. It was all in all the fairy tales that I read as a child. None of that was at all related to Rod. How does this relate to his curse? You said your relationship with Prince Rod changed after the night. What happened? 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 sighs. I told Em and Rod about Jessamine soon after the incident. Em was happy that the two of us had fallen in love, but Rod didn't say much of anything. That's when I noticed he started growing distant, and when I realized that he had also lost his voice. He still won't tell me anything, but I figure that her voice fades, but I know that she is referring to the curse. So Rod lost his voice shortly after 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 met Jessamine. The mermaid's curse must have something to do with the tale. The little mermaid traded her voice for legs so that she could be with her prince, but that night the only person who found their prince charming was 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻. Rod's curse must have something to do with Jessamine and 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻. He became distant with her after finding about Jessamine. Why? Then there is the fact that he still spoke to 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 even if he was distant. It was only when he found out about their wedding that he became so cold. I frown as I try to organize my thoughts. How did it get to be this late? I'm so sorry, Marie, but I have to close the shop now. Sorry for the story. I know it has nothing to do with Rod, but it was after that incident that he began to act strangely. I don't think I was much help, but I shake my head. You have told me what you could. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 walks me to the door, opening it so that the both of us can step out onto the street together. I really hope that you're able to help Emily and Rod. I hope so too. Did you see Ophelia the other day? I catch sight of two noblewomen sitting on a bench together not too far away from the toy shop. They are referring to Ophelia without her title. How disrespectful. Who would have thought a peasant like her could almost look like royalty? But her dress, as the queen, she ought to be wearing silks rather than satin. I don't know why, but I bristle at their comments. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but the fact they are speaking so bluntly in public means they have little worry about being overheard. I'm still not sure what the king saw in her. Well, you know what they say about ladies lacking natural beauty. What? Her talents must lie in other, more persuasive areas. You bitch! She must be very persuasive indeed if the king saw it worthwhile to marry her. You bitches! Shut up. As the two women laugh, I feel something hot begin to burn in my stomach. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 takes in a sharp breath beside me. Since I became a maid in the palace, Ophelia has been nothing but kind to me, a mere servant. She has all right to flaunt her status and title, yet she remains humble. I now know that this is why everyone at the palace loves her. Common women like her can only keep a man's attention for so long. I start walking toward them without thinking. Maria, I wouldn't. You have no right to say the thing about the queen. The two women are clearly surprised at my interruption. Both of them glare at me. You have no right to eavesdrop on us. Eavesdropping, anyone could have heard you. Their mouths fall open. One of the women looks at me for a long time, then sneers suddenly as if something has occurred to her. I thought he looks familiar. You're the crown princess's personal maid. I see you always following her around when she's in town. This is none of your business, girl. Why do you care so much for our opinions? Ah, perhaps it's because the girl idolizes the queen. Thinks she might also go from rags to riches. What? Oh, you do have a point. They stand and advance toward me. Do you want the prince for yourself, girl? If a commoner can become the queen, it's not too difficult to imagine yourself as a princess, is it? How foolish. You're better off dreaming smaller dreams, girl. They laugh and the irritation in my chest blazes into full-on anger. Is this what Ophelia has been dealing with for the past year? She is being treated so cruelly when she has done nothing but love the king, and I also ridiculed her just like this. I forced myself to look at the cruel women as I moved my hand to the pendant hanging around my neck. I was just as cruel as them. I barely feel 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻's hand as she rested against my shoulder. Marie, let it go. Her Majesty wouldn't want you to do this. But I cannot just let these two women talk about Ophelia like this. I pull away from 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 and stand firm. The queen has a good heart. She is far more noble than either you ever hoped to be. I think back on the times I was cruel to her. Ophelia could have easily reprimanded me for my behavior. She had that right as my stepmother, yet has been nothing but kind to me. Ophelia never got angry at me, even despite my treatment toward her and her family. She has always treated others with kindness, even when they are cruel to her. Judging from the bitterness in your accusations, it seems that you are jealous of her. How pathetic. The other woman marches towards me, and my free hand instinctively moves to hold her hand just before her palm reaches my cheek. I would not tolerate any insults toward the queen. A soft light emanates from the pen, and I can only stare at it in shock. I got another good deed? By defending Ophelia? The woman snatches her hand away. How dare a peasant like you talk that way to us? Have you no manners? I could ask you the same. What happened to yours? How dare you? Don't you know who we are, girl? I will see you pay for your impertinence. I can't say that word. Our words have far more weight than yours ever will. I will go to the king to tell him how rude you were. I can pass on that message myself. I turn and see Rod walking towards us, his expression cold. The two noblewomen hastily courtesy. Your Highness. The noblewoman turned pale as Rod's eyes fall on them. Actually, we have an important dinner engagement. Yes, we do. The two noblewomen courtesy before quickly departing. What are you even doing here without your guards? What trouble have you gotten yourself into now? You don't need to know. It is nothing. If you refuse to tell me what happened, I will have to assume that the noblewomen were telling the truth about you. Marie has done nothing wrong. In fact, I think Marie only did what you or Emily would have done had you heard the awful things those women were saying about your mother. What? She stood up for the queen when she didn't have to. Then why didn't you just say so? Would you believe me? Rod drops his gaze from mine. You never give me a chance to believe me, do you? Or you never gave me a chance to believe me. To believe you, did you? He wouldn't believe me? How am I to know that? Rod is like a walking contradiction. Rod glances up again, this time to look at 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬. We shouldn't keep you from returning home, 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬. I'll take Marie back to the palace. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬's eyes narrow, and she looks like she's ready to say something, but Rod has already reached for my hand and pulled me along behind him. Okay, bye, 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬. When we are out of sight of 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬's shop, Rod stops, releasing my hand as he turns to face me. Did you really think I would refuse to believe you if you told me the truth? You never liked me. You have no reason to believe me. Rod sighs, running a hand through his hair. I told you that would help you break your curse, right? That offer alone should be enough for you to know that I... Rod turns away, suddenly looking embarrassed. That I don't dislike you anymore. Aww. You are expecting me to just assume that? How would I know unless you made that absolutely clear? Well, I'm making it clear now. I understand. Anyway, thank you for standing up for my mother. It seems like you don't require my assistance in breaking your curse after all. He gestures to my necklace. Congratulations on your second good deed, Marie. Suddenly tongue-tied, I find myself looking everywhere but at Rod. When I once again gathered my senses, I turned to the road. My eyes narrow as I recognize the path we are on. This is not the way back to the palace. No, it isn't. We're going to the March Inn. Why? Because I was on my way there before I was forced to take a detour because someone was drawing attention to herself. What? But Rod ignores me and we walk the rest of the way to the March Inn in silence. Waltz is the only person in the reception room when we enter. Prince Rod? Princess? It's a little late for the two of you to be here. I had meant to be here earlier. Is Lady Parfait here? Waltz nods. I'll go get her. Wait here. As soon as Waltz leaves us alone, Rod turns to me, his expression rigid. Rod steps closer and grabs my shoulders. What? I wasn't able to say so earlier because we were out in public, but you should know just how much danger you're in now, and yet you thought I was okay to go around on your own. It was my day off today. It is not unreasonable for me to want time for myself. Time for yourself. Don't you understand the meaning of being careful? Why would you go do something as foolish as going out into town alone? I can help but bristle at his tone. Why are you so angry? Because you're... Rod trails off and looks away. Because your family. Oh! So you're finally acknowledging me as family? Aww. You're so cute, Rod. I noticed his cheeks turning red. To be honest, you're less of a family member and more just important. Aww, important. Because of all that you do for Emmeline. You're important to my sister. He looks uncomfortable as I say, or as he says the words, and I can't help but marvel at his embarrassment. Why is he so embarrassed? But Rod changed the topic as he turns away from me. Why are you with 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻? I can only think of one reason why you speak to her. My curse. You thought you'd find out about my curse through her. I shrug. I can only assume that your curse has something to do with 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻. I look up at Rod when Rod says something, then stare at the curious sight before me. He has taken 𝐍𝐸 off his shoulder and is holding the doll in his hands away from his face. The two seem to be engaged in some silent conversation, then gently 𝐍𝐸 speaks words I can hear. This is the right thing to do. You need to let her help you, Rod. Rod bites down on his lower lip before briefly closing his eyes. Eventually, he returns 𝐍𝐸 to his usual spot on his shoulder and turns to me. Fine, you're stubborn and you're not going to quit investigating unless I tell you, are you? You're right, 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 is the reason I was cursed. Oh, okay. Rod sits down on the settee and lets out a heavy sigh. His eyes are far away as he speaks to me. I was in love with 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻, but I wasn't brave enough to tell her. I just followed her around like some kind of puppy. One day 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 hadn't come home and it was raining very heavily, so I went to look for her. I found her walking along the bank of a river. I called out to her to tell her to be careful, but I don't think she ever heard me. She slipped and... Rod swallows. He clenches one of his hands into a fist. She fell into the river. I dived in after her. I somehow managed to get both of us onto the riverbank, but it didn't look like 𝐕𝐢𝐻 was breathing. I didn't know what to do. I started panicking. I ran off to try and find help, but I couldn't find anyone in the storm. When I returned, she was gone. I rushed to her house, and a doctor was already there tending to her along with Desmond. Rod's gaze is vacant as he nods. When 𝐕𝐢𝐻 began to fall in love with Desmond, I felt helpless. Did you not tell her you were the one that saved her? Why would I? 𝐕𝐢𝐻 was so happy believing that she and Desmond were fated to be together. I couldn't do that to her. But surely if you told her... Rod interrupts me. I want the people I love to be happy. I don't care if their happiness causes me pain. I'd rather bear that alone instead of bringing down those around me. My chest ached as I watched Rod's face. I never would have guessed that Rod would be so selfless. But that didn't stop me from thinking that I could still make her love me instead. I decided to become what I thought 𝐕𝐢𝐻 wanted most, the Prince Charming of the fairy tales that she so adored. And so I asked the witch to turn me into one. She stole my voice in exchange. Only then did I realize she had inflicted the Fairytale Curse upon me, the mermaid's curse. The next day the king turned up at our house, proclaiming that he had been looking for my mother for years and that he'd never stopped loving her. When the king married my mother, I became a prince. It was just as the witch promised. But it didn't matter. I didn't see it when I made the deal with the witch, but I couldn't be blind to it forever. Desmond and 𝐕𝐢𝐻 really do love each other. They make each other happy, and nothing I can do will ever change that. Rod, Prince Rod? Oh. Parfait pauses in her tracks when she sees me. Have I interrupted something? No. Rod moves over to Parfait, but he stops to glance back at me. I won't be long. Parfait looks at Rod and then at me, her face puzzled, but she does not say a word as Rod and her leave the room. God. So 𝐕𝐢𝐻 was the reason he was cursed, and he loved her. Okay, I'm actually getting annoyed by that, bro. I did not get the chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night, nor did I get the chance to speak with Parfait and Delora about my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. Days go by, but I still find myself overwhelmed by preparations for the ball. Things have become more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have any time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decide to write a letter containing my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. I tell Parfait and Delora that I believe he may be the witch they are looking for. I also add that I believe Fritz might somehow be involved, though my suspicions are not as well founded with him. To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I have not heard anyone mention his name here for a very long time. I am forcefully pulled from my thoughts when I collide with someone. The linens I have been carrying scattered over the floor. Excuse me, I did not. I look up and my voice trails off when I see who I bumped into. Oh, you. Lost in your thoughts? Sir Mithras looks at me, something veiled in his shining eyes. I suppose these are the lemons the queen asked for? Yes, please excuse me. I begin gathering up the linens, but as I reach for one, Sir Mithras picks it up first. Allow me to help you. I will be fine. But this was partially my fault. Let me assist you. I bite my lip and do not protest as Sir Mithras helps me gather the rest of the linens. I am contemplating my schedule for the rest of the day when I realize Sir Mithras had been talking. I don't suppose you have any idea on who that maid is. There is a cold amusement in Sir Mithras' gaze. Surely you've heard of the rumor of the young prince having been seen with a royal maid somewhere around town. Rumor has it that Prince Rod has found love among the common folk, much like his royal stepfather has. Rod with a maid? As far as I am aware, the only maid he's been in town... Wait. Oh my god. Rod with a maid. As far as I'm aware, the only maid he has been out in town with has been... I freeze as Sir Mithras strains, patting down his clothes for dust, before holding out some of the lemons to me. If it is true, I wish him the best, though I wish he would be more discreet about it. A royal scandal is the last thing we need right now. I shakily take the lens from Sir Mithras as he inclines his head to me. Have a good day, Marie. Girl. Walk to the dining hall in a haze. My mind whirling with the implications of what Sir Mithras just said. I am sure it was one of those noble women who spread this rumor. Marie, thank you for bringing these to me. Just leave them on the table. I courtesy after placing the linens down as commanded, if that is all. Marie. I strain at the tone of Ophelia's voice. When I look up, I see that her expression is carefully still. I'm about to ask you something that you may not want to answer, but I very much hope you will. I will answer if I can. Good. Ophelia sighs as she sits down on one of the dining table chairs and folds her arm on her lap. I've been trying to ignore it since palace gossip is mostly false, but I can't help my curiosity. I wanted to ask about your relationship with my son. What? I understand you and Rod were out together in town a few days ago. Do you want to tell me what happened? No. Fine, just say it. If Ophelia is asking me about these rumors, then I can only imagine what sort of story those women made up. Prince Rod was just on his way somewhere when he chanced upon me. When he saw that I was in trouble with two noble women, he stopped to intervene, that is all. Rod said the same thing. Then why did you ask me, Your Majesty? To see what you thought about the situation. I don't think anyone should get a say in what your relationship with Rod is. My relationship with Rod. I like you, Marie, and I'm certain that you're good for Rod. If I had my way, I would let him court you. I feel heat in my cheeks as I trip over my words. The prince and I are not in a relationship. A member of the royal family cannot end up with a servant. When there's love, there's hope. Social status shouldn't stop you from being happy, Marie. Then what about the fact that I am Rod's stepsister? I bite down on that statement fiercely. I already know what role I'm playing here and I cannot break it. Ophelia looks at me with a complicated expression before she sighs. I will not push you on this any further. But be careful, Marie. Your closeness with my son and daughter has not gone unnoticed. I do not believe in limiting relationships because of one's status, but I understand. I courtesy as I move toward the dining hall's entrance. What did Ophelia mean by that closeness not going unnoticed? Later that day, as I'm waiting outside the throne room for Emmeline to finish one of her classes, two maids walked toward me and stopped in front of me. Marie, isn't it? What is it? I've already finished all my tasks for the day. Oh, I'm sure you have. Probably rushed through all of them so you could hang around the prince and princess tonight. The head housekeeper has been giving you a letter loan so you can afford the time to play around, I please get them confused. I have no idea what you were talking about. Don't play dumb. All the servants know what you've been doing. Can I hit you? Just because you're Princess Emmeline's personal maid doesn't make you better than the rest of us. Bro, I'd be careful not to get too big in your boots, Marie. Are you threatening me? What if we are? Then I'd be very disappointed in you. Ah, Emmeline! Princess Emmeline? Emily moved to stand beside me, a disapproving expression on her face. I did not expect such petty cruelty from the two of you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Your Highness, you really do have a talent for getting yourself into trouble. Rod pauses briefly, his eyes meeting mine for a second before he looks at the maids. Don't you have better things to do than bully my sister's maid? We apologize, Your Highness. We'll be on our way. The two maids run off. Emily turns to look at me. Are you okay? I'm about to answer when I notice that Rod is abruptly walking away from us. I frown at his back. He had only just started being nice to me. Now he is back to acting as if I do not exist. What did I do? Emily puts her hands on my back and gently pushes me forward. You wanted to ask him something, right? I could see it in your eyes. Emily smiles as she pushes the door to the throne room open. I have a few more questions to ask my teacher. I'll be a while. But she disappears into the throne room before I can finish. I glance down the hallway. Rod just disappeared down in the back of the throne room. My thoughts roll together in a vague mess until I make my decision. Wait. At the sound of my approaching footsteps, Rod turns and looks at me. He scowls, but does not say anything. Or are you just gonna walk away? Bro. The words spill out of me before I can even think on them. What have I done now to make you angry with me? Nothing. He turns away and I glare as I follow closely behind him. You expect me to believe that? You can at least look at me while I'm talking to you. I reach out a hand to his elbow and pull him back so that he is facing me, Rod. But the words die in my throat when I see the expression on his face. His face is red and he refuses to look me in the eye. My surprise causes me to release him. Rod quickly turns around and begins to walk away. I am left to stare dumbly after him. What is wrong with him? Normally he is not so afraid to speak his mind. I frown as I feel a dull ache throbbing somewhere deep in my chest. What is this? Why do I feel sad? Normally Rod's distance does not make me feel like this, and yet now? Am I really so sad that he does not want to speak with me? Girl, I shake my head and take a deep breath to still my mind. It is better not to think about it. Chapter 8, the ball. Oh, we're finally going to be doing the ball day. Yay! I want to get dressed up and I want to dance. It is the day of the ball and I'm waiting for Emily to finish her last dance rehearsal. The lesson was over an hour ago, but Emily remains here to continue practicing the steps. Meanwhile, I am preoccupied with thoughts of Rod's curse. I cannot believe that Rod traded his voice for a title, so the reason the king was able to find Ophelia was because of Rod. It is a little difficult to wrap my head around the implications, but one thing bothers me. Rod told me why he has the curse, but he gave no explanation as to how to break it. How did it go in the original fairy tale? Emily finishes up the last steps of her routine before walking over to me. I hand her the glass of water I was holding for her. Thank you, Marie. Emily must notice my curiosity, because she stops to look at me quizzically. Is something the matter? I've read a little bit of that fairy tale but never finished it. Can you tell me the whole story of the Little Mermaid? Little Mermaid. Emily takes a seat on one of the chairs bordering the throne room and gestures for me to take the one opposite her. Telling a fairy tale is always a good way to wind down. Once upon a time, there was a mermaid that fell in love with a handsome prince. One day, when she swam to the surface of the ocean to find him, she saw that the prince was celebrating his birthday on the grandest ship in the kingdom. The Little Mermaid was captivated by the human party and stayed to watch. Then suddenly a violent storm hit and the prince was thrown from the ship into the ocean. The Little Mermaid saved the prince and took him safely to shore, but she could not stay long. She had to eventually return to the ocean and leave him on land. This is similar to 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐻's rescue. The Little Mermaid was so in love with the prince that she went to see a witch who offered to trade her a potion that would turn her mermaid tail into legs. They struck a deal. The mermaid would sacrifice her beautiful voice for legs so she could live with the prince on land. So in Rod's case, he traded his voice away to become a prince. However, the sea witch gave the Little Mermaid a warning and said That if she wasn't able to make the prince fall in love with her, there would be consequences. Consequences? Yes, namely, if the prince fell in love and married someone else, the mermaid's heart would break and she would dissolve into sea foam. Oh. I cannot help but recoil. My expression must betray my horror, because Emily quickly shakes her head. There is no need to be worried. Rod has said that his curse is different from the fairy tale, and you believe him. Emmeline shrugs helplessly as she shuts down her now empty glass of water. The fairytale curse always twists the original fairy tale, right? Besides, it's not as if Rod traded his voice for legs, and I've never heard of a cursed person that dies because they cannot break their curse. That may be true, but Emily does not know what Rod traded his voice for. She does not know what it did, but she does not know that he did it to become a prince for 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻. Rod is already hiding things from her. Is it possible that Rod will die the day 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 marries 𝐍𝐸𝐸? Later that day, I find Rod in the dining hall. He appears to be inspecting the seating arrangement for the night's banquet. He glances up briefly to look at me before returning his attention to the play cards with the guest's name on them. What is it? I've been looking for you all morning. I'm distracted. I'm distracted from what I'm about to say when I notice Rod switching the position of two play cards. I frown as I catch the name on one of them. He is moving 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻's place at the table. Is he trying to make sure he sits as far away from him as possible? Surely you have better things to do than stay here. What happens if you cannot break your curse? Rod's movements stutter before he shakes his head sharply. That is something you do not need to know. Oh, we make things so difficult. Like, I'm really sick of it. Like, I'm really sick of it. Something aches deep in my chest at Rod's coldness. Please. Rod startles so strongly that he almost drops the play card he was holding. Please tell me. We've been partners for months now, but I barely... Yes, I know. That is an unusual partnership and that most of our helping each other has been subtle, but I'm only one good deed away from breaking my curse, while you seem to be no closer to breaking your curse than when we started. I will do whatever I can to help you with your curse, Rod, so please let me help you. Silence falls. Moments later, Rod sighs and looks away from me. Some unspeakably sad emotion shines through his eyes. Even if I wanted your help, Marie, there's nothing you can do. Dread settles in the pit of my stomach at Rod's words. Could I be right? Will Rod actually die if he does not manage to break his curse? Emily told me the story of the Little Mermaid. She said that the mermaid dies if the prince marries someone else. Rod, when 𝐕𝐢𝐻 marries 𝐍𝐸𝐸, will you... My voice trails off when I heard the sound of the door behind us. Is it Ophelia or the king? Rod rushes forward and grabs me as I glance back at the door. Ow. I become aware of a weight holding me down to the floor. The impact of the floor against my head blurs my vision, making it impossible for me to see what is happening at first. Am I underneath the dining table? I struggle to try and sit up, but the weight pushes down on me again, forcing me to be still, quiet. Rod, why did he push me underneath the table? I'm about to ask him aloud when the sound of footsteps silences me. I cannot help but remember what Sir Mithras was saying about rumors. If Rod and I were singing alone together by the servants, the rumors will no doubt get worse. But why is Rod doing this? I stay quiet as people enter. I stay quiet as the people that enter the dining room begin to talk. How strange for this place to be empty at this time of day. There is a pause, and then another voice speaks up. You better have good news from Mithras. Sir 𝐸𝐻𝐻 and Sir Mithras? What? Rod's hands tighten on my shoulders. Everything is as you requested, Sir 𝐸𝐻𝐻. There should be no issues. There better not be. You've disappointed me before, Mithras. I would be careful not to try my patience again. Yes, Sir 𝐸𝐻𝐻. Sir Mithras sounds oddly subservient. But why? The two of them are both ranked equally, and neither of them should have to answer to anyone other than the king. Unless Sir 𝐸𝐻𝐻 truly is the witch and is forcing Sir Mithras to obey him with a spell. Wait a few minutes after I leave. We should not be seen together. I do not hear Sir Mithras respond, but I can hear Sir 𝐸𝐻𝐻 leaving the room. Sir Mithras sighs out, but is otherwise silent when he leaves the room after a few moments. I exhale fully as the door finally closes behind Sir Mithras. This is bad. I was so engrossed in Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros conversation that I only just now realized that Rod is hovering over me. Oh, hi. Hey, are you alright? Are you hurt? You look a little... Rod suddenly pauses as he notices our positions. He stares at me for a few moments, eyes wide. He scrambles out from underneath the dining table, and by the time I do the same, he is standing far away from me, his gaze fixed on the wall. He is bright red. It would be funny if I weren't sure I was the same color. Rod clears his throat. It seems that Sir Alcaster really is the witch if he has the ability to make Sir Mithros obey him. Lady Parfait should be told immediately. Rod turns on his heel to leave the dining room. Rod, wait. What? This is urgent, princess. I can't just... When 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 marries Jessamine, will you die? Rod pauses for a moment, but I can tell from his pained expression that he will not speak. You're running out of time, Rod. My eyes flip between Sebby and Rod. What does that mean? Nothing. He turns away from me once again and starts walking away. Rod, there must be something in my voice that makes Rod stop because he turns to look at me. Please stop running away from this. What would knowing the answer achieve, Marie? Though Rod's words are harsh, his tone is soft. There is nothing anyone can do. Leave it alone, Marie. It's for the best. I cannot help but get mad at Rod's dismissive tone. I move toward him, frowning. How can you say something like that? You are not the only person that will be affected if you keep refusing to do anything to break your curse. Can you imagine what your death would do to your sister, to your mother? Losing you would destroy them. Rod's face is suddenly inches away from mine. He places his hand to the wall behind me, caging me in. His face is flushed with anger, but the look in his eyes is tormented. My family has been dealing with the consequences of my actions for the majority of my life. Don't think that I don't know what effect my curse has on the people closest to me. Besides, I don't want to involve you in this too. His voice is a whisper, but I can still hear his words. Rod. Rod pushes away from me and stalks off as I stare after him. He says that, but then he still does nothing to try to break his curse. I do not understand him at all. What is stopping him? You're just licking yourself, Cheeto. Oh my god. Rod is absent from the palace for the rest of the day and returns only when the sun has set to prepare for the ball. I have not been able to talk to him since, but I assume that he has been telemarched and told Delora and Parfait about our suspicions of Sir Alcaster being a witch. I hope they come up with an effective plan for dealing with him. The palace is not safe so as long as he is here. The ball is just about to start that evening, and I have been asked to make sure that none of the guests are lost and wandering the hallways. I have been walking around for a while, directing any late guests in the right direction. That should be everyone. But as I turn the corner, I notice two people lingering by a column. Excuse me, the throne room is... I pause when I look more closely at the two men in front of me. I recognize one of them instantly. Oh, what is Sir Alcaster doing outside the throne room, and who is that man he's with? Ah, Marie. Sir Alcaster gestures toward me and I approach warily. This is 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿. He is one of the guests for the ball. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 sweeps aside his cape as he bows, and I courtesy and dip my head to hide my expression. I have not heard of a 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿, and why would he be bowing to a mere maid? Also, why is he wearing such an elaborate costume and mask? This is not a masquerade ball. If 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 is an acquaintance of Sir Alcaster, there's no telling what or who he truly is. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 is one of the suitors for Princess Emily. Would you please escort him to the throne room? I will be along shortly. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿's politeness is even more suspicious. Of course, Sir Alcaster. I meet 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿's gaze briefly and cannot help but frown at the way he is smirking at me this way. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 and I make our way toward the throne room. I cannot help but feel wary of the fact that he is following behind me where I cannot see him. If the maids are this lovely, the princess must be truly beautiful. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 laughs and I grit my teeth at the sound. What? It was meant to be a compliment. There's no need to look at me like that. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿 looks to me curiously. Our maid is not allowed to speak in this place? I have nothing to say. Not the most cheerful person on the staff, are you? Thankfully, the doors to the throne room appear as soon as we turn a corner. I do not have to come up with a response to his words. We are here. I gesture toward the throne room and move to leap, but 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐿's voice Varg's voice stopped me. You should at the very least escort me inside and introduce me to the princess, don't you think? Isn't that what a maid should do? Technically, that is the announcer's job, but Varg came so late he probably already missed the introductions. I wouldn't want to think badly of any servants at the palace. I take a deep breath to calm myself down before turning toward the doors. Follow me. I can tell the moment I step into the room that the official introductions have already passed. Most of the guests have already begun to mingle and scatter across the throne room as the band sets up. No one notices when I walk into the throne room in front of Varg. I do not trust Varg, not if he is associated with 𝐍𝐸. I might have time to warn someone about him while he is distracted, but who? Warn Emmeline. My attention is quickly drawn where Emmeline is moving between groups of people, introducing herself and making light conversation. I know this will be frowned upon, but Emmeline's safety must come first. I make my way quickly over to Emmeline and courteously just off to the side, trying to draw as little attention to myself as possible. Princess Emmeline, may I have a word? Emmeline is clearly shocked at my intrusion, but she masks as well. Excuse me, it appears my maid has something for me. I draw her closer to the walls where the crowd blocks us from view. I wasn't expecting you to be here, Marie. Not that I mind, but once you get into trouble, there's no time for that. I take her hand in mine and look at her somberly. You have to watch out for this man in a mask. 𝐍𝐸 brought him to the ball. Why should I be worried then? I cannot exactly tell her that I think he is a witch right now. There are too many people looking. Just please be wary of him. I'm sure there's nothing to be worried about from anyone here, Marie, especially if 𝐍𝐸 is involved. On the contrary, if 𝐍𝐸 is involved, I would also recommend staying on your guard, Emmeline. Rod? I turn in shock to see Rod suddenly standing beside me. You should trust Marie. Excuse me. I jump at the sound of Varg's voice. Rod takes a step forward and places his hand on my shoulders to steady me. I don't believe we've been introduced. Varg looks at me for a few moments, but I say nothing. He eventually turns to Emmeline, a wolfish smile on his face. My name is Varg, and you must be Princess Emmeline. The tales of your beauty do not do you justice. Emmeline flushes as Varg reaches for her hand. He presses a kiss to the back of it, still grinning. I can feel Rod tense behind me. May I have the first dance? Emmeline bites down her lower lip as she stares at him. I become acutely aware just of how quiet the throne room has become. She cannot refuse him with so many people watching her. I feel sick, but cannot bring myself to say anything more as Emmeline puts her hand in Varg's. I accept Lord Varg. The moment Emmeline makes her way to the center of the dance floor, a man signals to the band and the musicians start playing. This feels wrong. I can only nod as I watch Varg pull Emmeline closer. At first, it is just he and Emmeline dancing, but then other couples gradually trickle in to join them. I do not like this at all. Rod and I watch in silence as the first dance continues on. I know for a fact that Rod must see the dreamy smile on Emmeline's face as certainly as I can. When the music stops, both of us move as one toward Emmeline. Even though the dance is over and Varg has released her, they still stand close together in the center of the room. The silence is interrupted when the double doors open and 𝐍𝐸, along with two knights, stalk into the center of the room where Emmeline and Varg is. Their arrival causes an uneasy stir in the crowd. The king rises from his throne, eyebrows drawn. 𝐸𝐸, is there some kind of disturbance? What? 𝐍𝐸 says nothing as the knights station them around the room and 𝐸𝐸 says nothing as the knights stationed around the room approach Emmeline and Varg and stand around them, encircling them. What? Emmeline's expression shifts from confusion to fear. The crowd becomes even more anxious. 𝐸𝐸, explain this. 𝐸𝐸 briefly glances at him but says nothing. He turns back to his knights and snaps his fingers. The knights pull their swords out and point them at Emmeline. I reach out to grab Rod's hand before he can make his way toward her. Rod, it is too dangerous. I know, but thoughtless actions have the potential to put Emmeline in even more danger. Rod's only response is to tighten his grip on my hand. I place my other hand on his to reassure him, but slowly but surely his grip begins to loosen. I turned my gaze back to the king. 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r, stop this immediately. What do you think you are doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. I have done nothing but to be loyal to this kingdom, and all I have ever wanted for Angielle was for Angielle to thrive. But ever since the queen died, this kingdom has become weak. It is because you are a weak ruler, Gennaro. What? The people were more productive back then, more disciplined during the late queen's reign. The kingdom has become less productive, but without fear to drive them. When there is power, there is order. Power is not something that should be needlessly used to control people. It is used to protect them. You of all people should know that. Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r shakes his head. I of all people should know that order is what makes a hierarchy stronger. I'm only doing what is necessary. I'm reorganizing the system. Hand over the crown, Gennaro. Oh my god. Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r turns his head to Varg, who remains standing beside a scared Emmeline. You will obey me if you do not want your precious daughter harmed. Please, leave my daughter out of this. Emmeline steps back, her eyes now brimming with tears. Varg sees the princess. As soon as Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r gives the order, Rod immediately lets go of my hand and rushes toward his sister. Rod, no! I quickly follow after him, but Rod suddenly stops in his tracks. I bump abruptly into his back. Rod? Varg! Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r's booming voice echoes around the room, which has suddenly gone eerily silent. My eyes move to Varg, but he is standing motionless. What is happening? Finally, Varg smirks. He steps to the side, standing in front of Emmeline as if to block her from view. Sir Varg. You must be delusional, old man. I am not letting you anywhere near the princess. The knights next moment are a blur as they rush at Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r. A mere moments he is disarmed and pinned to the ground. Several more knights have also appeared from behind to surround Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r. A man emerges from in between the circle of knights. He moves to stand beside Varg and Emmeline. Sir Mithras looks at Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r disdainfully. What is the meaning of this, Mithras? We had a deal. The anger is now palpable in Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r's flushed face. Did we now? Mithras, explain yourself. Sir Mithras drops to one knee in front of the king. Of course, your majesty. He raises his hand slightly to look at the king. I've known for a long while that the man you see before you is a traitor. I was even aware of his plans, but I could not tell you of them without any evidence. 2 of your knights have tried to inform you of these plans before, but we all looked down on them with disdain. I had to make sure that I did not come unprepared like they did. Jurgen and Garland? What? Both of them knew of Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r's plans? Was that the reason they were dishonorably discharged for false accusations? I knew enough of his plan that I could thwart it. That is why I thought the best way to reveal his dastardly ways was to craft a fake alliance with him. Sir Varg and I have been working together to unravel 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r's plans, your majesty. Varg is an invaluable accomplice. Wait, so Sir Mithras has been pretending to work with Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r this whole time? And so we arrive at the events of tonight. I apologize for undertaking this task without seeking your counsel, your majesty. But I could think of no better way to end this madness once and for all. You lying snake. Sir Mithras stands and turns to 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r. He gestures at him, dismissively. Sees him. The knights' next movements are blurred. The men rush Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r. Wait, what? The girl, we already read this line. Well, he's pinned to the ground. Isn't Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r a witch? Why is he not using magic? Mithras, I am indebted to you for saving us. The whole kingdom is. I only did what was necessary, your majesty. The king glances at the knights and at Sir Mithras, his gaze steely. Take him away. Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r struggles uselessly against the knights as they drag him away. He is nearly at the door when he starts screaming at the king. Gennaro, you are a fool. That man is a witch, a snake. You cannot trust him. No, 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r, I was wrong to put my trust in you. Even as Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r is pulled from a room, we can hear him babbling in the hallways about a witch. Oh god, is Sir Mithras a witch? Sir 𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐶𝐴𝐴r never used any magic to escape. Was he truly not a witch? Are you alright, princess? I am pulled from my thoughts when I hear Varg's voice. He is now trying to comfort a shaken Emmeline. For a few moments, he looks away and his eyes meet mine. He smiles, but it is fleeting, and moments later, his attention is back on Emmeline. Okay, weird. The ball comes to an abrupt end after 𝐕𝐬𝐿𝐵𝐼𝐺𝐻𝐿𝐵 stunt. He is thrown into a jail cell and promised a trial after a few days' time where he will be tried for treason against the kingdom. I still can't believe Sir 𝐕𝐿𝐵 would do something like that, and so brazenly too. I wonder, what happened to Sir Fitzgerald? They say he vanished completely last night. Do you? Do you think he was working with his father? The truth is that I have no idea what to think. I had thought that I had everything figured out, but now that I've become more and more confused by the moment. Fritz was always loyal to a fault, but then Sir 𝐕𝐿𝐵 was the same way with the king, and I have not seen or heard of Fritz for weeks. I cannot really say. Good morning, Sir Princess Emmeline. Oh my god. Sir Varg. Varg was offered a room at the palace for a few days' visit. He is being treated as Sir Mithros' valued guest. I have heard from the other servants that he is Sir Mithros' relative who lives in a neighboring kingdom. I hope that you're feeling well now, Princess. Yes, thank you for your help last night. Is Emmeline blushing? I'm sorry if y'all can hear them. I know I won't be here long, but I do hope to get to know you better during the duration of my stay. I would love that. Then I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. Oh, I forgot that I am meant to be in my mother's room right now. Marie, Sir Mithros, oh my god, Sir Varg. I'll see you both later. I courtesy as Emily walks off, leaving me alone with Varg. I cannot help but feel uneasy in his presence. Something about him puts me on edge. He makes me feel uncomfortable. Excuse me, I have errands to attend to. Wait. Before you head out, I have something to give to you. Give me. Varg reaches into one of his pockets and withdraws a letter that he holds out to me. Okay. What is this about? Well, I guess you have to open it and find out, Princess. My blood turns to ice in my veins. He knows I am the princess. That can only mean he is. I have no idea what you are talking about. Excuse me. I'm about to leave when Varg suddenly grabs my wrist. The play is just about to start, Princess. You have a responsibility as the main character to perform impeccably until the very end. Otherwise, well, he grins at me. It is the same wolfish smile that he flashed at me during the ball. You might miss out on your fairy tale ending. What? Before I can say anything else, I feel a hand grip my other arm. Someone tugs me back and away from Varg, then comes to stand in front of me. Rod, stay away from her. Rod? Varg looks at Rod, then at me, his smile growing more crooked. What an interesting turn of events. I wonder how this will end for the both of you. Tell Marie, what is he to you? Should we stay silent? He's not a friend. Just stay silent. Don't answer him. No answer. Be in denial all you want. At the end of the day, you're going to have to choose. Wait, what? At the end of the day, you're going to have to decide who and what you will choose. Who or what to choose? Silence. You are harassing one of our staff members. Of course, I apologize for my rude behavior behind this. You seem to know a lot about us. Are you I lower my voice. Are you a witch? You're asking the wrong person, Princess. He knows who you really are. I think you two are worrying too much about me. After all, I'm just a pawn in this game. What the hell? Varg dips into an elegant bow and flashes one last smile before walking away. What? Are you alright? Yes, but what just happened? I am. Thank you for helping me. You know I'd do anything for you. Oh! What? What? Rod shakes his head before stepping away. Anything for me? Rod coughs, pulling me from the thought. It is possible that he is a witch or that he is working with other witches, but we have no evidence to prove it. Until we figure out what's going on, you need to be wary of him. I know. Rod smiles at me gently. The look makes my heart thud once, painfully in my chest. So stop staring at me like that. Rod looks away, his cheeks tinged red. I feel my own cheeks warm at the sight. I wasn't staring at all. Both of you are hopeless. Shut up, Sebby. Rod gives me one last look before finally turning and walking away. I place my hand over my chest where I can still hear my thudding heartbeat. This feeling, if it is what I think it is, then I have no right to feel that way about him. He is my stepbrother. I shake my head to clear the thought, then glance down at the letter that 𝐕𝐲 just delivered to me. There is only one sentence written on it. Come to the throne room alone tonight. Oh. Chapter 9, the wedding. Oh no. Okay. The throne room is empty when I arrive. I can only hope that this is not some sort of trap. Soon after I enter, the door squeaks open and a familiar face enters the room. Oh, you? Sir Mithros. Sir Mithros walks toward me. When he is close enough, he drops to one knee and bows. I frown as I take a step back from him. My princess, do not be alarmed. I know your true identity. Oh. Sir Mithros flashes me a wide smile that causes a shudder to run down my spine. You know who I am, then that means you are... I take another step back as the blood drains from my face. Sir Mithros' smile only widens in my reaction. I'll say it for you. Yes, I am a witch. Ooh, if you're a witch, then 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 is a mere human, a full one. And 𝐕𝐲? Nothing but my personal errand boy. A thought suddenly occurs to me. If 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 was plotting against the kingdom, then did Sir Mithros also punish Fritz somehow? What about Fritz? Was he a part of 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵's plans? Ah, the knight. To avoid confusing you, let's just say that the situation surrounding him is too complicated to adequately explain. I command you to answer my question, Sir Mithros. Was Fritz a part of this? If it makes you feel any better, he refused to be a part of this. He refused? Does that mean he was not a part of the plans? Or just that he was unwillingly forced to participate in them? I am certain that 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 would not be happy that his own son was disobeying him. He either forced him to help or assigned him outside of the palace. But if oh my god. If Fritz knew of 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵's plan, then why did he not warn anyone about them? Was he working with Sir Mithros as well? More questions swirl in my head, but none of them have answers. When this is over, I will personally ask Fritz about this once I can locate him. I shake the thoughts away and bring my attention back to Sir Mithros. Why bother with this reveal? What do you hope to gain from it? Before we start our conversation... Oh god. Sir Mithros waves his hand, conjuring a faint green glow that envelops the whole room. Just in case someone decides to eavesdrop, I wouldn't want any of your witch friends listening in on us. Yes, I am aware one of them has been snooping around the palace this past few months. Their snooping has made it more difficult to move around without exposing myself. Sir Mithros clicks his tongue in annoyance. Such a nuisance. He is referring to Delora. She and Parfait warned me before there was a witch in the palace. Is Sir Mithros truly that witch? I never ever really trusted him, not even when I was a princess. Now that he has revealed himself as a witch, I need to know what he plans on doing. If you knew that I was the princess this entire time, yet you never offered me any assistance. If I had, 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 would have targeted you as well. What? 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 wanted to dispose of the royal family. If he had known you were the princess, he would have been after you too. It would have been easier with no one remembering you as a princess. But unfortunately, Fritz told his father about you, thinking that 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 might be able to help and protect you. And it didn't help that 𝐕𝐲 confirmed it. Your mother wouldn't have been happy with me if I put you in harm's way. Wait, what? That is why I had to pretend not to know you in order to protect you. Sir Mithros is silent for a few months before he speaks again. Revealing myself to be a witch was necessary. I had to make myself appear useful to 𝐍𝐸𝐿𝐵 somehow after all. Then, of course, I learned of his foolish plans to steal the crown and decided to thwart them, though not before I stole something from 𝐸𝐿𝐵 first. I played him like the fool that he was. I told him that I would aid him with my magic so long as he gave me the knight's protection. Using magic is almost impossible in this place, so having the knights to back me up was crucial. The knights? What does he need the knight's protection for? What are his plans? Sir Mithros starts pacing the room, his expression calm. I found out that he planned to dispose of me after he obtained what he needed, so I disposed of him first. 𝐕𝐬𝐼𝐧𝐟𝐨 might have been able to convince most of the knights to aid him by promising them promotions, but my magic is far more convincing. Sir Mithras stops in front of me, his deadpan expression transforming into a smile. For now, let us desist speaking of my plans. The minute 𝐕𝐬𝐼𝐧𝐟𝐴's plans were thwarted, I knew I had to contact you directly. I am happy to see you in the palace, your highness. Although, we really need to get you out of those clothes soon. A maid's clothing does not befit a princess like yourself. That does not matter. My priority right now is to break my curse. Yes, of course, they must truly have frightened to feel the need to curse you. I feel an uncomfortable tug in my heart. To think that the Lucius Bearer would actually allow a witch to curse you. Ooh. Sir Mithras shakes his head, disgust written on his features. When you suddenly disappeared that day, it was as if all the traces of your existence had vanished. I searched for you endlessly, princess. When you first appeared here in the palace, I did not recognize you immediately, but I felt a touch of magic in you and investigated. My curiosity is what prompted me to investigate you further. When I tried hard enough, I found that I could see through the glamour that had been casted on you. So, Sir Mithras truly was the witch Parvati was referring to when she mentioned someone seeing through the glamour. Imagine my surprise when I found out that it was actually you. That fairy bearer has been nothing but a nuisance to us witches. First, she betrayed your mother, and then she betrayed you before she had even met you. But mother, she was a tenant bearer corrupted by darkness. Parvati only did what she had to do. Sir Mithras looks at me clearly surprised. What lies have those people been whispering in your ear? Everything Queen did, she did for us witches, to protect us from the wicked humans who destroyed our kind. It is clear to me where Sir Mithras' alliances lie. Sir Mithras sighs, runs a hand through his hair, and then continues speaking. On your 18th birthday, you will follow her steps. You will make this kingdom a place for all witches to prosper. I am nothing like her. I refuse to make people suffer to feel the crystal. I never bore witness to the suffering that people had to go through during my mother's reign, but the stories are enough to reveal her true nature to me. It was hard to believe at first, but those people do not have any reason to lie to a servant like myself. They have nothing to gain from it. I finally understand why the hatred people had for me ran so deep, even when I did nothing to them. It was because I was the witch's daughter. Your mother wouldn't be happy to hear you say that. Let me assure you that this is a destiny you can run from, dear princess. I will not let destiny take control of my life. I feigned tiredness by releasing a long yawn. I am sorry for cutting you short, Sir Mithras, but please excuse me. I am getting tired. I am about to walk past Sir Mithras when he starts speaking again, his voice a low whisper. I have noticed that you've gotten closer to the family you so despised before, the prince included. I narrow my eyes at him. You care about him, don't you? I must confess that this surprises me, princess. Such a relationship will certainly be a scandal. Even if you two are not blood related, he is still your stepbrother. Whatever will your dear father say about this? I clench my fist. He has no right to lecture me. I already know that these feelings are wrong. I know that I cannot have them. I assure you that there is nothing between the both of us. Oh, it's that show. Are those lies you utter just to convince yourself? This man is beginning to try my patience. Allow me to share a little secret with you, princess. I am not interested. I head for the door and reach for the knob. Oh, but I think it would be something you would be most curious about. I do, after all, know the consequences of the curse, or of the prince failing to break his curse. I also happen to know that someone special to him is getting married tomorrow. My hand freezes. How do you know about all this? I know all the happenings around this place. That is my job, princess. Now tell me, do you know the ending to the fairy tale, The Little Mermaid? My blood runs cold when I remember what Emily told me about that fairy tale. If the prince fell in love and married someone else, the Little Mermaid's heart would break and she would dissolve into sea foam. I conducted my own investigation and actually met the witch who bestowed the curse on the prince. In meeting her, I found out everything that there is to know about it. I turned to regard Mithras with a frown. Ah, it seems I've finally gotten your attention. What do you plan on doing to Rod? Sir Mithras shrugs. To him, nothing really. I was merely curious. I wanted to know what you saw in him. What do you know about his curse? It stays true to the fairy tale, only in this case, the prince gives up his voice for a title. Still, it will end the same way. The girl will fall in love with someone else despite his sacrifice. You mean... On his beloved's wedding day, the prince will die. I thought you might have reached the same conclusion. Tragic, don't you think? I had the same thought, but is Rod truly going to die? So the reason Rod gave up breaking his curse was because he knew that 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 would never love him back. He knew that he was going to die the moment 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 married. Dread begins to watch over me. Why not ask him yourself? As if orchestrated by magic, the double doors open and Rod steps inside. When he sees me, his expression relaxes. I have been looking all over for you. I wanted to speak with you about my discussion with Lady Parfait. I turn around his face, Sir Mithras once again, but to my surprise, he's already gone. When did Sir Mithras leave? Marie, is something wrong? Ooh. Was Sir Mithras really speaking the truth? Confront him. Is this how you really want things to end? What are you talking about? Have you even thought about what your family will feel after they find out that you lied about your curse? You were going to die when 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻 gets married tomorrow, am I right? That is why you told me there is nothing I could do to help you to break your curse. Because there really is nothing you can do to help me. 𝐕𝐢𝐻 will never return my love. I already accepted my fate a long time ago. Lady Parfait was the only one who insisted I find another way to break my curse. Because she refuses to give up on you, and I will not give up on you either. I've been aware of another way to break my curse from the beginning, but I'd rather die than do what it is I need to do. Do what? Have you not read? Rod's voice trails off when he sees my confused expression. He clears his throat. Forget it. There's nothing more you can do. The reason I never told anyone the truth of my curse is because I never wanted anyone to blame themselves for not being able to help me. I was already a lost cause the moment 𝐕𝐢𝐻 really fell in love with someone else. I could never take that happiness away from her. Rod becomes silent, his gaze downcast. The vulnerable expression catches me by surprise. You should have told me about your curse a long time ago. How many times must I repeat myself? Telling you about my curse won't change the outcome. I could have tried to help you. Why are you so insistent on helping me? Because I care about you. Oh. My face warms up when the words escape my lips. Rod also flushes. But what are you saying? I am worried about you on Emmeline's behalf, of course. I do not want her to think that I let you die. Rod lets out a deep sigh. Just stop talking. You're in no position to tell me what to do. Marie, there is a hint of warning in his voice. Now you better let me help you or... Oh, okay. No, and you're gonna die tomorrow. This is when you decide to kiss us? Bro, oh my gosh. My words are cut off when Rod presses his lips to mine. I need a screenshot of that. It is only a brief kiss, and when he pulls away, his usual somberness has returned. I told you to stop talking. I can only stare back at him baffled. Rod, you do realize you just kissed the princess? Rod looked at 𝐍𝐸, then at me. His face colors once more. He takes a step back, his lips pressed together. I'm sorry. Without any other wording, Rod turns abruptly and stalks out of the room. 𝐍𝐸 falls from his shoulder and falls to the ground, but Rod does not notice in his hurry to leap. I stare after him in shock. I can't believe he just ran away. I walk to where 𝐍𝐸 is and kneel down to pick him up. Are you alright? I'm fine, thank you, princess. 𝐍𝐸 tilts his head to the side. That Rod, I wonder when he will start acting like a man. Suddenly kissing a girl like that is so unromantic. I agree. I think about the warmth of Rod's lips pressed against mine and flush again. Rod may not say much, but he has a lot going on in his head. Thoughts he doesn't ever want anyone to know. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I know he really does care about you, princess. He's just a little standoffish and has a difficult time showing his emotions. He's sensitive like that. Take it from me, I'm always in his head. I care about him too, but what will become of my feelings once I break my curse? I will return to being his stepsister when this is all over. No, this is not the time to mull over such thoughts. I'm sorry for asking this of you, Princess, but can you return me to Rod? That boy is useless without me. The aspiration in Sebby's voice makes me smile. Sebby acts like Rod's older sibling. Oh, she's smiling! Of course. When Rod does not open the door, I knock again. Rod's eyes widen as soon as he sees me. His face flushes a dark crimson. I'm here to return Sebby. Rod nods before slowly taking Sebby from my hands. Thank you. Be careful not to drop me again next time. There is a hint of a smile on Rod's face as he taps Sebby's face. Sorry. He looks so much more at ease when he smiles. Rod faces me again with an apologetic expression. Marie, I really am sorry for what I did earlier. You don't have to apologize. I know you did not intend to do that in the first place. The truth is, He trails off and averts his eyes slowly to the floor. Suffice it to say, I'm not supposed to feel this way about you. What exactly are you feeling? Oh, Rod flushes a deep red before turning away. Don't ask me such an embarrassing question. The hovering silence becomes more pronounced as we have stopped talking. You said you wanted to talk to me about something you discussed with Lady Parfait. Yes. I meant to tell you that Delora will be here tomorrow to investigate. Now that we know Sir Alcaster is not the witch, we have to start our investigation. We have to start our investigations over. Actually, about that, I know who the witch is. You do? It's Sir Mithras. He's the real witch. Sir Mithras. So when Sir Alcaster was throwing around accusations last night, they were true. Sir Mithras is also already aware that Delora has been investigating the palace. We need to warn her. Then I will send Lady Parfait a quick message. We need to keep up our guard around him too, especially you. I'm sure he already knows that you're the crown princess. I nod in response. For now, we should wait for Delora to show up tomorrow. But it's getting late. You should go and get some rest. The moment he says the words, I realize he's correct. My eyelids are heavy. You're right. I think I shall take my leave. I'm about to leave when Rod suddenly grabs my hand. I turn to face him. Marie, this is the first time I have heard him say my name so warmly. I can almost hear my heartbeat ringing in my ears as I stare at him with anticipation. But Rod says nothing else. Bro! Rod eventually releases my hand with a shake of his head. It's nothing. I cannot help but feel dejected. Good night, Marie. Good night, Rod. Moments after Rod closes the door, I hear a familiar voice whispering in my ear. Ah, I see. I jump back in surprise and stare at him with wide eyes. Sir Mithras is leaning casually against one of the pedestals. So that is where the princess appears to every now and then. I had no reason to care before, but now I see it. If my guess is correct, he is also in league with the Lucius Bearer. When I do not answer, Sir Mithras smiles and shrugs. Well, it does not matter. I glance around us and notice the green shield from earlier. Once again, no one will hear this conversation. So, now that the prince has confirmed your doubts, what will be your next course of action be? You want to help him break his curse, yes? Rod may have given up on breaking his curse, but I refuse to do nothing. From the way Sir Mithras is taunting me, he must know some other way to break the curse. Rod will not be happy about this, but I will need to use whatever means necessary to save him. Do you know how to break his curse, Sir Mithras? I will assume that you have not read the full fairy tale if you do not know. Yes, princess, I know. Tell me. Sir Mithras cocks an eyebrow and waves a finger at me. Do you not realize by now how witches work, princess? I propose a deal. I will help you, but you must help me with something in return. Help you if you are planning on betraying the king. I have no plans of taking the crown or harming any members of the royal family. Oh. What? Then what is it that you would want from me? I prefer keeping you in suspense. I do enjoy surprises. You will find out the day after tomorrow. That is your 18th birthday. I look at him perplexed. Why does it have to be on my birthday? Don't worry, your highness. What I request from you will also make for a pleasant gift. What do you say? I bite my lower lip as I consider. I am worried about Sir Mithras' request, but I no longer have time. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐼ca's marriage is tomorrow, and Sir Mithras has the upper hand. I understand. Good. Now remember, dear Marie, witches are bound to their oaths. In order for the prince To regain his voice in life, something must be taken by force, just in the fairy tale. What does he mean by that? Tell me what I must do. Oh, I did forget to mention this, but it is not you who must act, but the prince. What? If Rod could help himself, he already would have done so. Please trust me, princess. You will have my aid, and I will make sure that the princess curse is broken. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. Why did you take the deal, stupid? Today is 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐼𝐺's wedding day, and also the day Rod is destined to die. Sir Mithras explained his plan briefly last night. He told me that he would have a valuable item delivered to Rod that he would need and use to break his curse. He further explained that it was something he would need to use after the wedding. I tried to question him further, but he disappeared before I could, saying he needed to start his preparations. I do not completely trust him, but I am running out of time and have no choice right now. The royal family has left the palace to attend 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐼𝐺's wedding. It is unusual for the king to attend another noble's wedding, but 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐼𝐺 is an exception given that she is one of Rod's and Emmeline's best friends. Despite Sir Mithras' reassurance, I am still restless. Sir Mithras told me that everything would be alright, that Rod would not instantly die the moment 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐼𝐺 got married. But why must his involvement be reserved for a time after the wedding? Why does he not act now? Someone looks like they're in a bad mood. Hello, Delora. Delora suddenly stands before me smirking. Her appearance shocks me so badly I nearly dropped the dishes in my hand. What impeccable timing. We've heard from the prince about Mithras. No wonder I was iffy about the man. I should have realized he was a witch. Do you know him? Yes, I do. Delora walks closer and places both of her hands on my shoulders. Listen to me, princess. I am warning you. Stay away from Mithras. Do you understand? That man is a sly devil. He cannot be trusted. I take a deep breath to my still my rapidly beating heart. I hope I'm not asking for his help. Princess, I need you to promise me that we stay away from Mithras. Yes, of course. Good. For the time being, I will resume my investigation. If I'm lucky, I'll find out what Mithras hopes to accomplish. Actually, he is not in the palace right now. He went with the royal family to attend a wedding. A wedding, huh? How unusual. I can only assume he must be there at the wedding to help Rod. Well then, better make use of his absence while I can. I'll see you later, princess. When I'm left to my own thoughts, my mind returns to the issue of Rod's curse. Sir Mithras mentioned a similarity with a fairy tale, which means I have a chance of finding out more. I decide to go to the library when I have the time to pick up the book. I'm on my way back to my quarters with the book in hand when I see Rod walking toward me from the other side. His eyes are fixed on the floor, so he does not notice me as I approach. Rod? He is still alive. Does that mean Sir Mithras has succeeded? Oh, it's just you. Rod's voice still comes from 𝐍𝐨. The realization instills a deep fear inside of me. He is still cursed. How much time does he have left? Much to my surprise, Rod actually smiles at me. The smile is forced, however, and doesn't reach his eyes. What the hell? How was the wedding? I quickly clamped my hand over my mouth after I asked the question. Rod just saw the person he loves getting married today. I already know how he feels. I apologize. I should not have asked that. Rod looks at me surprised, and to my shock, he starts chuckling. What? Why are you laughing? You looked like a criminal caught in the act of a crime. I apologize for trying to be sensitive, Your Highness. Without realizing, I smile back at him. It looks like Rod has finally learned to converse with me normally. I hope this will not be the last time I see him smile like this. I'm tired, Marie. I will not return for the night. Rod looks at me again and smiles. Good night, Marie. That's weird. Without waiting for my answer, Rod begins to walk away. I glance down at the book and then slowly open to the last page of the Little Mermaid fairy tale. I start reading from the section when the mermaid sisters explain how to get her fins back. Take this knife. Before the sun rises, you must plunge it into the heart of the prince, and you will become a mermaid once again. The book falls from my hands and collapses to the floor. I stare at it dumbfounded. Wait, this means Rod needs to kill 𝐕𝐢𝐿𝐼𝐺? Then the item that Sir Mithras mentioned earlier, could it be the knife? I need to find him. Girl, oh my god. I turned and started running in the direction of Rod's rooms in hopes that I would still be able to catch Sir Mithras there. When I come to the end of the hallway, however, it is not Mithras who stand by Rod's door. Emmeline, what is with her eyes? What? Emmeline is slowly walking in the direction of the throne room. Her movements seem oddly mechanical. I rush toward her. Princess Emily, where are you going? Must go to Rod. Why is she going to the throne room? Rod is back in his room. My eyes catch on something shining in Emmeline's hand. Oh no. My heart nearly stops when I see that it is a knife. Emmeline, what are you? If he kills his beloved with this blade, his curse will break and he won't die. It is as if she's in a trance. If this is Sir Mithras doing, is she under one of his spells? Emmeline, step out of it. Emmeline starts walking again, ignoring me. When I try to approach her, thinking to steal the knife away, a shadow suddenly comes to stand between us. Varg looms in front of me, smirking. Where did you come from? Let me through, Varg. No can do, princess. Don't you want to save the prince? I look at Emmeline, who's not even turned to glance at us. I glare at Varg, who is still standing in my way, grinning. Step aside, Varg. Ah, feisty. You are a far more interesting princess than your stepsister. I try to sidestep, but Varg follows my motions. I try again and again, but he just thwarts my progress. He holds up his hands and their eyebrows raised. Tell me, what would you do if I did let you go? Would you stop him from killing the girl? Rob would never kill her. He would never do anything to harm the person he loves. He refused to do it, and he has no reason to do it now. Varg is silent for a few moments as he considers. Interesting. He steps aside and bows. Go ahead then. You are letting me go. I would like to see this play end as it may, without any strings attached. You are a weird person. Oh my god. Chapter 10, The Mermaid's Voice. Okay, we are, okay. No way I can leave this on a cliffhanger. Okay. I stop in my tracks when I see Sir Mithras standing just in front of the main door to the throne room. He looks at me expectantly as I approach. Sir Mithras? Good evening, Your Highness. Such a lovely night tonight, isn't it? Only half an hour left before you will turn 18. Do not forget our deal, princess. Come midnight, I will be requesting your aid in exchange for helping the prince break his curse. I clench my hands in a tight fist. Helping the prince break his curse? Rod, killing someone is not what I wanted. Sir Mithras puts a finger to his lips. You wouldn't want to attract the attention of knights, would you? There would be quite a bit of explaining to do then. I glare at him, then take a deep breath and lower my voice. You did not tell me that breaking Rod's curse meant killing someone. Oh, but I'm only honoring my end of the deal. Perhaps you should have done your research before agreeing. The grin on his lips never wavers, but I can see the amusement in his eyes. I relied entirely on the story Emmeline told me, and that was my biggest mistake. I should have read the full fairy tale. But now it seems you finally know the full story of the Princess Fairy Tale, To break his curse, Prince Rod must kill his beloved with a knife his sister has brought him, just like in the fairy tale. Sir Mithras continues to smile at me. I realize that he is speaking slowly, like one might speak to a child. So condescending. No, wait. I start to realize that Sir Mithras is purposefully drawing out this conversation to stall me. I need to go. Mithras does not stop me when I slide past him and open the doors to the throne room. The first thing I see when I enter the throne room is Rod. He is standing in the middle of the air with Emily in his arms. Is she alright? Rod gently places Emmeline on the throne. He leans down and looks more closely at her sleeping face, then reaches down to take the object in her hand before he faces me. I can see the metallic glimmer in his hand and know that he is holding the knife Emmeline brought with her. Where did she even get this knife? He pauses to stare at it, then turns suddenly, eyes widening at some other sight in another part of the room. What? I follow his gaze to the corner of the room where 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐿 floats in midair. Her eyes are closed and her hands are clasped as if she is just sleeping. 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐿, but how? Such a pleasant surprise, isn't it? Sir Mithras walks into the room with his hands clasped behind his back. You. Good evening, Your Highness. Is this your doing? Sir Mithras just smiles at him pleasantly. Rod only glares back at him. Guards. Sir Mithras clicks his tongue and chuckles. My apologies, Your Highness, but no one will be able to hear you no matter how loud you shout. Not even your witch friend will hear anything through my magic. He knows Dolores here. I glance around the room and notice that Sir Mithras has created the silent green bearer. This is the same magic he used yesterday. Now let us get back to the matter at hand. You are running out of time, Prince Rod. It would be a shame to see you perish here after the princess went through the trouble of asking me to save your life. Marie, what is he talking about? The princess didn't want you to die, so she asked me to help break your curse. Sir Mithras spreads his arms, gesturing toward both Emily and 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻. And so I have been kind enough to set the stage and gather its actors for what I hope to be a wonderful finale. I can't help but wonder how this fairy tale will end. Why would you do this, Marie? I did not know it meant killing 𝐕𝐢𝐻, I swear. That is why I came here, to stop you. I told you so many times that there was nothing you could do to help me, and yet you still refuse to listen to me. Because I refuse to let you die. Can you not see that you're important to me, Rod? Oh my, what a scandal. Marie, I turned to Sir Mithras and stared daggers at him. I asked you to help Rod. Why did you have to involve Emily in this? It was a necessary requirement that the princess be the one to give him the knife, Your Highness. It was, after all, the mermaid sister that brought her the knife to kill her beloved. So that's how she knew about all this. She came here crying and begging me to break my curse because she didn't want me to die. I almost wanted to do it. But I can never kill someone. That is why I will always refuse to break my curse, even if I really want to live. Perhaps I miscalculated. Well, this can be remedied. Sir Mithras waves his hands. His fingers begin to glow suddenly with magic. Oh, Lord. What are you? Ugh, Rod. A faint green glow surrounds Rod as he doubles over. What are you doing to him? What I should have done to begin with. The witch who cursed him said this, that he must do this of his own accord, but seeing as he refuses, I'm going to have to bend the rules slightly. Rod stands abruptly and begins walking toward 𝐕𝐢𝐻. The knife in his hand glistens beneath the patches of scattered moonlight in the room. Princess, he's going to kill 𝐕𝐢𝐻! Stop this, Sir Mithras. Where's Laura when we need her? I run towards Rod and wrap my hands around his waist in an attempt to stop him, but whether through magic or his own strength, he continues onwards. I end up being dragged behind him. Rod, snap out of it. Rod, I must kill her. His gaze is so glassy and his words are so mechanical that he sounds nothing like himself. No. Mithras, stop this. I'm ending our deal. My apologies, Your Highness, but not even I can dispel my magic once it has been casted. It will only fade of its own volition once what needs to be done has transpired. That, or perhaps, in the most unlikely circumstances, the prince will simply shake the spell himself. Though Mithras' words are apologetic, his expression is anything but. In fact, he looks amused by it all. Not so fast. Dolora. A crimson ball of light rushes towards Mithras. He waves his hand in the air and is barely able to conjure a shield to protect himself from Dolora's magic. Dolora. It wasn't exactly easy to find you all, especially with the silencing spell. What a nuisance. That is not important. Help me stop Rod. Frost slowly appears beneath Rod's feet. It spreads off his legs, freezing him in place. I sigh with relief as I collapse onto the floor. My arms are sore with the effort of trying to hold Rod back. Mithras clicks his tongue as he faces Dolora. I don't believe you were invited to this play, traitor. Oh my god. Light gathers around Mithras' hand. Moments later, he releases the energy towards her. Dolora in return conjures a barrier, successfully protecting herself from Mithras' magic. I always did fancy myself a party crasher. Still, to think that you were alive this whole time, myth. His real name, he was one of the tenement bearer's servants. Oh, this person was my mother's servant? Allow me to correct you. I am her only faithful servant. I am nothing like that ungrateful bastard who betrayed her to the fairies. Who is he talking about? Well, whatever it is that you're planning, forget about it. There's no way we're letting you get away with it. Oh, well, do try your best. But first, a reminder. I am the superior witch here. Energy crackles in the air as sparks begin to form around his hand. This spell is taking longer than his other spells. I noticed Dolora is worrying moments before she's able to cast a shield on herself. This is not good. Mithras releases the bolts of lightning in Dolores' direction. The impact causes both the shield and the ground to shudder. Dolora! The smoke clears, and miraculously, Dolores stands unharmed. No sooner has a sigh escaped my lips that another frightening sound echoes across the room. There is a loud crack, and I realize it is coming from Dolores' shield. Everything after that happens in a blur. Dolores is still trying to hold the shield up when Mithras casts another spell at it. It shatters, and the magic seeps through and hits her directly. Dolora, really now, have you forgot the most important lesson in defense magic? Always conjure another shield after being hit by a powerful spell. Or, oh, I do apologize. Perhaps I did not give you enough time to cast another shield. How thoughtless of me. Dolora lies on the floor unmoving. Dolora, I'm about to rush to her side when Mithras moves to stand in front of me with a malicious grin on his face. It wouldn't do you no good to be in denial, princess. How could you? How could you hurt another witch? It is not a crime to destroy a traitor. He looks back at Dolora with clear disdain, then he sets his eyes back on me and raises his eyebrow. It is foolish of you to try to stop this. You wanted this, and I will not allow you to renege on our deal. The prince will break his curse, and you will help me. Help you. Yes, I went to great pains to make sure Sorrelcaster kept you safe just so you could repay me. You said that you made a deal with Sorrelcaster to borrow the knight's assistance. And what would I need the knight's assistance for, dear princess? I never needed the knight's. I just needed Sorrelcaster to keep you safe. I would have gotten rid of him myself if I wasn't sure the king would eventually find me. So this whole time you were only trying to keep me safe? To use me? Use is such a simple, ugly word. Remember, I just want you to help me. Princess! I turn around and realize that Dolores' spell on Rod has faded, and now he's only a few feet away from 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿. Rod. I force myself to run toward him as fast as I can manage. I will not let you kill anyone. I do not know what I must do to stop him, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I put myself between Rod and 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻𝐿. Is he about to plunge a knife into her? No! Princess! Oh my god. My body is racked with pain the moment the blade sinks into my shoulder. Ugh. I collapse to the floor and hold onto my injured shoulder. I can feel the blood seeping between my fingers. You fool, you could have easily been killed. I do not care. I love Rod, and I would never let him do something that he would regret for the rest of his life. I cringe. Tears cloud my vision as the pain worsens. Marie. I feel Rod's arms around me as he cradles me to his chest. I look up at him to see that his eyes are fixed on my bleeding shoulder. Rod looks at me with anguish. He grabs a handkerchief from his pocket and presses it to my shoulder. I can't believe I did this. I stare in shock as his lips move. It is not Sebby speaking, but him. Your voice. You broke your curse. But how? Oh, we got our third deed! A bright light envelops us, and for a few moments, I have to close my eyes against its brightness. I reach out to grab my necklace, but it is gone. I open my eyes in panic, but the necklace is definitely not there. Marie, the glass slippers. I glance down to see a pair of smooth glass slippers on my feet. Oh, we broke our curse! You broke your curse by breaking mine. I hear the sound of shattering glass and turn to see Mithras staring at a broken veil. What is that? Frost has begun to form at his feet and is now spreading up his legs. What is happening? Always have a backup, as they say. Seems like you're the one who has forgot the basics of combat. Never turn your back on an opponent unless you're sure that they're dead. Your bloated ego does wonders in turning the tide of battle. Oh my god. Dolora, you're fine. Dolora is now back on her feet and walking towards Mithras. She does off her dress as she moves. Dolora is unharmed? You? But how? Did you really think I'd forget to conjure another shield? The frost has now made its way up to Mithras' neck. Inconceivable. A lowly lich like you can never cast this powerful a spell. Dolora gestures at the glass shards on the floor. That's where Parfai's new special potion comes in handy. It makes my magic more powerful. The second most basic lesson is to never underestimate your opponent. Looks like you were the terrible pupil. Mithras opens to speak or perhaps scream, but by the time he opens his mouth, the frost has completely devoured him, leaving him nothing but an icy sculpture. Ooh. Dolora, Maria's. Has her bleeding stopped? I think so. I cannot make out what they say after that. My world starts spinning and everything starts to blur, so I close my eyes. I feel Dolores' hand on my forehead. The warmth relaxes me somewhat. We've got you, princess. Hang in there, Marie. My body becomes heavier by the second as I lean my head against Rod's chest. Then I feel myself falling into never-ending darkness. Oh no. Oh, we're in our room. When I open my eyes, the first thing I see are the soft rays of sunlight seeping through the window. I am in my own room. I attempt to sit up and cringe when I feel a sharp pain in my shoulder. I reach out to touch it, only to realize that it has been neatly bandaged. Despite the injury, my body feels oddly light, stronger than it even was before. I remember I placed myself in front of 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿 to stop Rod from hurting her, but where did this energy come from? Emmeline! The door opens and Emmeline walks in with a tray of food in her hand. She stops when she realizes that I am staring at her and nearly drops the tray in her rush to stand beside me. Marie, you're finally awake. I was so worried about you. I'm so sorry. This was all my fault. What are you talking about? It was mine, not yours. I remember bringing the knife to Rod, but I can't remember much of what happened before or after that. Just that when I woke up in the throne room, I saw that you were bleeding in Rod's arms. I thought you were going to... The rest of Emmeline's words break to pieces as she begins to cry. I'm so sorry for forgetting about you. I made you work too hard while you were my personal maid, and I shake my head with a sigh. It was not your fault that I was cursed, Emmeline, but I look at her tear-stained face. She was not at fault here, yet she is crying. She really is a good person. I spread my arms, Marie. I turn away suddenly embarrassed. You look like you needed a hug. Emmeline stares at me for a few moments. I am about to reconsider when I suddenly feel her arms around me. I am so happy. I hug her back and stroke her hair. I cannot help but smile at the warmth that spreads in my chest. Thank you. Oh. Emmeline pulls back, her face full of concern. What will happen to you and Rod now? I saw how close the two of you got. And I saw how Rod looked at you last night. Oh, wait, last night. So today is my birthday and the day I became the bearer. Is that the reason why I feel so strangely energized? Oh. Emily walks up to one of my doll shelves and picks up the doll she had placed there months ago. Happy birthday. I meant to give this to you earlier as a prize before you were cursed. Anyway, I know it's not as pretty as the other dogs from your collection, but I hope that you like it. It is beautiful, thank you. I take the doll in my arms as a knock sounds on the door. Come in. Oh. The door opens and Rod steps inside. His eyes widen when he sees Emmeline. Oh, I was just about to leave. Emmeline slides off my bed and heads for the door, but before she closes it, she turns to us once again. I know how complicated this will be for the both of you, but I want you to know that I will support you. So my lips are sealed. Emmeline winks before finally closing the door behind her. There is an awkward silence in the room before Rod approaches me and sits on the edge of the bed. How are you feeling? It still hurts, but I will be fine. What's wrong? I'm just not used to hearing your voice from your own lips. Oh. But I see that you still upset me with you. I've grown too fond of him to completely set him aside. He's helped me through a lot. Bummer I can't read his thoughts anymore. There was never any need for you to do that in the first place. Is that so? Rod shakes his head and sighs silently. So, what happened last night? Is how you were able to break your curse? You did not kill 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿. In the original fairy tale, the Little Mermaid could retain her humanity only if the prince loved her back. Though it never happens in the fairy tale, it is still an element of her curse. But still, because the prince never fell in love with her, the only way for the mermaid to live was to kill him. I fell in love with you unknowingly. When you told me you loved me as well last night, that broke my curse. I feel my cheeks turn warm. Rod coughs, his own cheeks flushed. So there you have it. The Little Mermaid never had a fairy tale ending, but I did. I never had to kill 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿. But because my curse started with 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐿, I assumed it had to end with her too. It turns out The person that I love just needed to love me back. I was mistaken. It never needed to be 𝐕𝐢𝐬𝐻. I see. We stare at each other for a few moments, the awkward silence returning. I change the subject as quickly as I can. What became of Sir Mithros? Delora brought him back to Lady Parfait. She is the one who will properly punish him. And what of 𝐕𝐢𝐻? Delora returned her to her home yesterday. She did not remember anything that happened. Everything is back to how it was, and you're back to being my stepbrother. I cannot but help feel crestfallen at the truth. Blood binds, but so do sibling bonds. Rod and I can never have what either of us want. I don't want to forget these feelings for you. I don't want to forget these feelings I have for you, Marie. If I never made that deal with the witch, then maybe we might have actually been able to be together. But had you not been cursed, our paths would have never have crossed. I reach for Rod's hand. He laces his fingers through mine with a small smile. I love you, Rod. Aww! I love you too, but... Rod leans forward and kisses my cheek. I know. Aww. 1 month later. Ever since I have broke my curse and become the new tenant bearer, I have been training under Parfait and Delora so that I can learn to control my newfound powers. I never wanted this responsibility, but it is a burden I was born into. It is necessary I help maintain the balance between light and dark that has been missing for so long. Now that I am the new tenant bearer, Parfait wants the two of us to work together in maintaining that peace. I do not wish to cause any pain or suffering to the people, especially to the people whom I cherish. Sometimes I still wonder what Sir Mithros wanted me to do for him, but that is not important anymore. I still have much to learn, but right now, as the new bearer, my priority is to get rid of the Fairytale Curse once and for all. For the time being, everyone at the Martin waits patiently for the day that I will learn to lift their curses. Since everything transpired, my relationship with Ophelia and Emmeline has improved. Emmeline is fond of calling me the best sister, even though I'm the only one she has. My relationship with the king, however, has yet to be mended. I'm doing my best to open up to him and to give him a chance, but the efforts are slow going. I do not ask why he acted the way that he did in the past, but I do not know that in order to move forward, I must let go of the past. Oh, it is finally time. I've been waiting for this all day. I head back to my room to change my dress into something less conspicuous. Afterwards, I head out into town and into the forest for my designated meeting. It is a relief that the king allows me to leave the palace on my own. I would not have been able to come here with guards. I guess me being the tenant bearer person at ease. If the title reassures him and allows me to come out here on my own to meet Rod, then I'm not complaining. Rod still uses the secret passageway he always has used to sneak out of the palace. Emily knows about our secret meetings and helps cover for our disappearances if necessary. It makes me happy that Emily approves of our relationship, that we do not have to keep it secret from absolutely everyone. At first, Rod and I both attempted to keep our distance without making it seem too obvious to everyone around us. Though Ophelia seems to suspect something is going on between the two of us, she has not asked questions. Emily was not happy with our decision. She said she felt terrible that we would be forced to let go of something so precious on the account of our titles. She was right. More than that, it was difficult for the two of us to deny our feelings for each other. In the end, we came up with a solution, even if it is temporary. We secretly meet up in the forest every once in a while so that the two of us can be together without any pretenses, even just for a little while. When I catch sight of Rod, I run toward him and throw my arms around his neck. I feel Rod snuggle his face into the crook of my neck. May I have this dance? Aww. They're so cute. Oh my god. I take Rod's hand and begin dancing to a silent song. The first time I danced with him, it was to prove a point. It was when neither of us even liked each other. I remember this as I stare at him. What, is there something on my face? I was just remembering how much you hated me back then, and now here we are. Sorry. Oh my god, I cannot talk. Fate sure loves to toy with us. I smile at Rod. Just for a little longer. I want to be by his side. I do not know how long we can keep this up, but every day I wish for the same thing. I wish that I can live my life openly loving Rod. I wonder, would that dream ever be possible? No, that cannot be it. No! Are you serious? Bro. Oh my god. And this little ending. Oh my god. Alright, everyone. Well, that is the ending of Rod's route. I hope you enjoy this. I have to decide what the next route we're doing is because I have no clue. But I really enjoyed Rod's route. It was really nice, and even though they're like siblings, they like each other, so, you know, oh well. But yeah, everyone, that is all for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what you guys think about Cinderella Phenomenon now that we've completed the first route. Oh my god. I just want to look at this, like, it's all the CGs. Oh my gosh. Aww. But yeah, everyone, that's where we are going to end today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've already said it like 5 times. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone!